Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to share my Jupyter notebook of the task I was given during the monthly internship program at Coders Ready. This task is about machine learning. Our objective here is to predict the percentage of a student based on the number of study hours, and as a data analyst, try to find out the prediction of the score. You also have to find out what will be the predicted score if a student studies for 8.5 hours a day. I will be using simple linear regression as it involves only two variables. Here is the table of contents. Firstly, I imported all the libraries that I will be requiring to complete the task. First, pandas for data manipulation and analysis, numpy for array processing, matplotlib.pyplot for creating animated, static, and interactive visualizations. This is basically a library used for plotting, cborn for data visualization, and sklearn to build machine learning models. Then I loaded the dataset and used the head function to display the first 10 rows of the dataset. Then I performed exploratory data analysis and found out the shape, which tells us the number of rows and columns in the dataset. I then displayed the information of the dataset and used the describe function to give basic statistical details. Then I checked for any null values in the dataset. As we did not find any null value, I moved on to plot a correlation between the scores and study hours. Here you can see the visual correlation between scores and study hours. To be sure of the correlation, I plotted a regression line plot and reconfirmed the positive correlation by using the .co function. Here you can see the regression plot and the .co function to confirm that the variables are positively correlated. Afterwards, I had to prepare the data by dividing them into attributes and levels, basically input and output. Furthermore, we split the data into training and test sets. We used the train test split function from sklearn model selection to split the data into two subsets. This helps us by dividing the data set automatically. Next step is to train the data. We do this by using linear regression. It models or makes a target prediction value on independent variables. We then store the intercept and coefficient in a variable which will be used to plot. Then we plot a regression line using the trained data. Here you can see the plot. Our next step is to test the data. Here we use the dot predict from linear regression to predict data using test set. Next is to plot using the test data. Here you can see the plot. After this, we will compare the actual scores to the predicted scores. And to visualize the same, we will plot a regression line of actual versus predicted marks. Here you can see the plot of actual versus predicted marks. We will also check the accuracy of the model we have created. As we can see, the model is 94% accurate, which is accurate enough. To the question, what will be the predicted score if a student studies for 8.5 hours a day? Here we have used the model we have created to predict the score. Lastly, to conclude from the above result, we can say if a student studies for 8.5 hours a day, that student will secure 86.25 marks. Thank you for your time.